Welcome back, my loves, to this Wild Women series. And today I'm exploring chapter 5 of Women Who Run with the Wolves. And the chapter name is Skeleton Woman. And I'll be honest, this might sound a bit eerie at first because it starts off a bit dark and mysterious. But stay with me because this is one of the most powerful metaphors of love, trust, and emotional intimacy that I've ever come across. It's about understanding life, death, life cycle, something that's not just part of the nature. Like life is built of life, death, and life cycle, but it's also part of our relationships. This story actually invites us to look at the parts of love that we often avoid, like fear, vulnerability, the things that one goes through in love and relationships that actually feel like emotional death before true intimacy can be born. It's about allowing the old to die so something more deeper and real can take root. So let's begin the story. And I'm gonna read the story for you in my own words. Once upon a time, in a forgotten land, there was a woman who had been thrown into the sea by her own father. The story doesn't tell us why. We just know that it happened. That's where it started from. Over time, the sea stripped her of flesh and memory until only her bones remained. She became known as Skeleton Woman, a being of bone and silence resting beneath the waves. One day, a lone fisherman came by, casting his line, just trying to find food. And what does he hook? Not a fish, but her rib cage. He doesn't know that, of course. He thinks he's caught something big and he's excited. But as he reels it in, he sees this terrifying skeletal figure rising out of the water, all bones and shadows. He panics and runs, terrified. But the fishing line is still tangled. So, as he runs, she's dragged behind him, over the rocks, across the ice, through valleys, all the way back to his home. Exhausted, the man collapses by the fire. And maybe it was the way the firelight softened her features, or maybe it was his loneliness, but something shifts in him. His breath slows down and a little kindness enters his body. He gently begins to untangle her bones, piece by piece, speaking softly like a mother to a child. When he finishes, he crawls into bed and drifts into sleep. And as sometimes happens in the dream, a single tear slips down the corner of his eye, a tear from some unknown dream, maybe of sadness, maybe of longing. The skeleton woman sees it glisten in the fire light and she becomes deeply, achingly thirsty looking at the tear. She crawls over bone by bone and drinks that tear. It's like a river. And she drinks until her thirst is finally quenched. Then something even deeper happens. She reaches inside the sleeping man and takes out his heart, not to hurt him, but to use it as a drum. She drums on it softly, singing, flesh, flesh, flesh. And as she sings, her body begins to fill out, bones becoming flesh, hair returning, eyes glowing, hands forming. She sings herself back to life. When she is whole again, she returns his heart and climbs into bed beside him, skin to skin, heart to heart. And by morning, they awaken wrapped around each other, not just physically, but spiritually. Something new and tender now alive between them. Two souls who saw each other completely and chose to stay. Wow, let's take a deep breath. All right, so this story, as with all the stories by Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estés, it also lives within us. You can look at it from many angles, but if there's a core message here, it's this: to truly live and to truly love, we must embrace the life death life cycle. Now, that might sound a little intense, but we all go through this. Every transition in life, whether we are starting a new relationship, changing careers, or even beginning your healing journey, all of this carry this cycle. In transitioning into something new, starting a new cycle feels like something is dying. Maybe it's an old version of you, a belief system, an identity. Something always dies when we start something new. And yes, it can feel scary, but death is not the end, is what this beautiful story is here to teach us. Death is actually the doorway to your transformation. The new version of you, the version that's more aligned, more alive, more whole, can only be born once you've let the old go. And that's what Skeleton Woman symbolizes here. We must face her, the uncomfortable, the hidden, the raw, in order to feel whole. So, to make it easier, let's look at it through the lens of love. Imagine a man and a woman starting a new relationship. So the fisherman is the masculine energy here, and the skeleton woman, she holds the power of the feminine, but she's also the repressed part of both. So when the fisherman casts his line, he's hoping to catch a big fish, just like we all do in the early stages of love. When we start a new relationship, or when we plan to start a new relationship, we want the spark, we want the excitement, we want everything to be bright and shiny. We're just like looking for beauty. But love is not just about the surface. What happens after the spark fades away, because that's when the skeleton woman in each of us rises, when our masks starts to fall off, when the wounds, the fears, the insecurities start to show up. That's when the true love is tested. So let me break it down, like how it happens in the story. There are 7 sacred stages, a process that we all go through to understand and embrace the life, death, life cycle, this deep cycle of transformation, whether in love or any kind of change in our lives. And we are understanding these 7 sacred steps by assuming this newly found romantic relationship. So suppose a man and a woman falls in love and they come into this relationship. These are the stages that they usually go through. Stage 1 is the treasure hunt. This is the beginning stage. This is when the fisherman says, I hope I find something big today. I hope to catch a big fish. Just like we hope for the perfect partner, perfect job, the perfect life. It's shiny, it's exciting, it's full of expectations. We imagine the best case scenario and we get excited. That's normal. It's the honeymoon phase. And we are usually very accepting here because we haven't seen the depth yet. Now, stage 2 comes when the chase and hiding begin. Basically, the fear comes on the surface. So in the story, when the moment skeleton woman appears, the fisherman gets scared. He freaks out. It's like when we realize, wait, this is not what I signed up for. This is when in relationships, the old wounds show up and discomfort kicks in and we just want to run. But this is also the most important part, because if you run now, you miss everything. And isn't that what we do usually? When the truth gets messy, when the wounds surface, we want to run, hide, and just distract ourselves. But the message here is to face the hardest part, facing the discomfort, the shadow, the unknown. So this is stage 2. Now let's move on to stage 3. It is where the untangling of the skeleton woman begins. So once we face the step 2, we stop running. We're not running in stage 2. We decide that we will do the work. That's exactly what happens in the story. Eventually, the fisherman find the courage to turn around and he begins to untangle the skeleton woman bone by bone. So this is the stage of deep understanding, the deep intimacy, where we stop avoiding and we start untangling each other. We sit with each other's past pains, traumas, patterns. We learn to listen, to hold space. We open ourselves to understand the other person. And it's not about fixing, it's about just witnessing. And it's messy, but it's necessary. We start seeing the other and ourselves in total truth. It takes patience, so much patience, but this is where the love deepens. Now, step 4 is the sleeping phase. This is also called the phase of surrender, where you allow the love to change you. So the fisherman falls asleep after untangling the bones. And this sleep here is symbolic. So it's the pause before the rebirth. Healing happens here silently. It's kind of death too, where the old melts away to make the space for new. So in this moment, the fisherman surrenders the control. He stops running, stops fixing, and just rests. And in love, this is the moment when we stop trying to perform and protect ourselves. We simply soften and we let the love change ourselves in ways we didn't expect. And that's where the transformation begins. Now, stage 5, the tear. This is the stage of where we experience the power of vulnerability. So as the fisherman sleeps in the story, a tear rolls down his cheek and the skeleton woman drinks it. So this is one of the most powerful symbols of the story. Because in love, our tears, our emotions are the sacred offerings. They say, I trust you enough to let you see me. And when someone can receive our tears without judgments, it's like one soul witnessing the other in raw emotions. It brings healing not to just one person who's being witnessed, but to both of them. Stage number 6 is the heart as drum. This stage is about finally offering your heart. So we see in the story the skeleton woman taking the fisherman's heart out, not to harm him, but to revive herself. So symbolic version is the masculine is offering heart to the feminine, not as a grand gesture, but as a love offering. She drums on it and brings herself back to life. So this is the moment of soul giving. To offer your heart is to give everything. And when you receive that heart, receiving the heart actually awakens the receiver to their wholeness. And last stage is stage number 7, which is about the union, merging as one soul, where the love is reborn. So in the story, they say, by morning, they are wrapped in each other, not just the body, but soul. This is about finally coming into sacred union. After going through all the previous stages, these two are no longer separate. They have become one, not in a way that erases individuality, but in a way that honors truth, depth, and shared rebirth. This is sacred union, where love is no longer a chase. This kind of union, it reshapes you, it heals you, it wakes you up. The beginning of soul level love making. Okay, so I know I explained the story by taking the romantic love as a metaphor here, but for me, this story also helped me understand this huge transition that I went through in my life when I left my corporate job and I decided to do something of my own, to step into my soul path. Let me tell you, the skeleton woman shows up in so many ways, like through grief, doubt, identity loss. But at the same time, there was this deep guidance and support and this presence of truth. And I'm still receiving the messages from her, things that I'm still healing, still working through. So whatever transitions you are facing right now, a new path, a heartbreak, a spiritual awakening, a new love, try to see through the lens of this story. Where are you right now in that life, death, life cycle? Are you running from the skeleton? Or are you starting to untangle her one bone at a time? If you sit with this, your answers will come. Because skeleton woman is always there waiting for you, not to haunt you, but to heal you. So if you're still with me here, listening to me, let's take a breath here and let this story settle in your bones. So as I've done in other chapters, I've given you journaling prompts and embodiments exercise. I have something for you from this chapter as well. So there are some questions that you can journal on. So the question number 1 is, what are the skeleton parts of me that I have buried or run from? Question number 2 to journal is, when have I fled from love, vulnerability, or intimacy out of fear? And the last question is, can I allow myself to be seen even in my most raw and unpolished state? All right, so once you're done with these journaling questions, you can do this embodiment exercise. So you have to sit in silence, put your hands on your chest, and the other one you can put on your belly if you want to, otherwise it's okay. And then breathe deeply and slowly and feel the rise and fall of your breath. And then begin to lightly drum on your chest, matching the rhythm of your heartbeat. And as you're drumming, imagine skeleton woman is drumming it for you and she's bringing life back into you. And then you can also move your body if you want. Just listen very carefully to the wisdom of your body. You would know whether you want to stay still, listen to the drum, or you want to move. And if you move, make sure your movement is intuitive. Let it come through the body. So no rules here. Let your body speak. So let this be a reclamation, a reminder that even if something feels broken right now, it still holds the wisdom and still deserves the love. So this story reminded us that love is not just joy and beauty. It asks you to be willing to face the depths, the darks, and still be willing to stay open. If this story speaks to you, you can let me know in the comments. There's so much more to come in the Wild Woman series. The stories that'll awaken you and bring you back to your truth. Until next time, I'm sending you so much love.